is there any other development you'd like to pursue in your career? Let's say, have you ever thought of, with your knowledge of films, would you like to direct?
No.
Why?
I have enough trouble doing what I'm doing, being told what to do when I'm wrong. I don't put myself in the capacity that I could tell somebody where they're wrong.
Well, I don't mean to act and direct simultaneously.
No, but even to direct. I could help somebody, as I've helped people, but I would never want... I don't feel that I know that much that I could take 2 or 3 people and say, do this and do that and do that. I'll wait for you to tell me what to do.
But I understand that everybody holds you up on a pedestal.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, as an example, the late Cecil B. DeMille wrote in his autobiography, I'm sometimes asked who is my favorite actress among those I have directed. I would have to say that I have never worked with an actress who is more cooperative, less temperamental, and a better workman, to use my term of highest compliment, than Barbara Stanwyck. Barbara's name is the first that comes to mind as one on whom a director can always count to do her work with all her heart.
I'm rather proud of that, I must say.
I certainly think you should be.
Yes.
Who would you classify as the finest directors that you've worked with?
Naturally, Frank Capra, Billy Wilder.
You did Double Indemnity.
Yes. And Bill Wellman. Wild Bill Wellman. Yes, I adore that man. I did several with him and for him. There are so many that I enjoyed. George Stevens.
What film did you do with
Annie
George?
Oakley, the original.
Oh, yes. Before Annie Gets You Gone.
Before Annie Gets You, before Ethel Merman did it. Yeah, the original.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but who are your favorite leading men?
Oh, that's very difficult because I enjoy working.
You worked with so many.
Very, very many. Hank Fonda. You could, Joan McRae. I mean, I could go right down the line. Just about.
Over the last 2 decades. Now, while they're preparing for the next setup, I'd like to continue our conversation about young actors and their training. Where did you get your training?
Experience, life. I didn't go to school, if that's what you mean.
No,
dramatic school.
Right.
No, I have nothing against them. Some of them are very good, but I think the best thing is to get out and do it, try to do it anyhow. I've known a couple that went to school, and it's sort of like a crutch. They just sort of hang on to that school.
Or they like to go from one school to another.
Yes.
They're afraid of getting their feet wet.
I think so, yes. And I find fault that with some schools, not all, they don't release them in time to find out whether or not they can or can do what they're supposed to do.
And eventually you've got to work with pros and get up there and put yourself on the line.
Bad. You make mistakes. This is the way you learn.
Now, for a chorus girl, you went on to your first part, and that, I understand, was a flop in Pittsburgh. Then it was rewritten, and you were a hit in Philadelphia.
Well, a part within it was rewritten from one female character to the little dance hall girl. I was lucky. The little dance hall character, which I was. And so it was just a lucky break, really.
And in that experience, too, you got your name.
Yes.
Do you want to tell that story?
Oh, sure. My original name, birth name, was Ruby Stevens, and that was the name I was a chorus girl. But when I started in dramatic acting, Willard Mack, who wrote and directed the play called Noose, decided that Ruby Stevens wasn't a very good name for a dramatic actress. So we were all sitting backstage in the green room of the Burlesque Theater in New York City. And in those days, I don't know whether they still have it because I haven't been there for years, they had all sorts of very old programs.
The Burlesque?
Yes.
It's still there.
It's still there?
Still the same.
Well, then maybe that program is still there. But it was a very old English program. And it read, James Stanwyck appearing in Barbara Frietchie. So he didn't want to name me Jane because of Jane Cowell. He didn't want to know. So he said, here's your name, Barbara Stanwyck. He took the Barbara out of Barbara Frietchie and the Stanwyck out of Jane Stanwyck, who incidentally was a British actress. And that program in those days, and this was around 1927, around that program was about 30 years old. That was hanging in the Burlesque Theater.
Well, then, did you make your first appearance on Broadway as Barbara Stanwyck?
Yes, in the dramatic part, yes.
And then after that came a famous play called Burlesque.
Yes.
While you were doing the play Burlesque, did that bring you to Hollywood?
Well, I had finished playing the 2 years with her.
Right.
And then I came originally for Joe Skank, who then owned United Artists. And I was brought out here. See, that was about 31, 32, around that time. I did a perfectly dreadful picture called The Locked Door. That was the beginning of talkies, of course.
Yes.
And it was terrible, awful.
Speaking of neck, how about a bit of squab?
Thanks, but it's getting late and I have a headache.
Oh, I have the cure. We'll talk about that after supper.
Will you please open that door?
Oh, no.
Waiter,
Now, that won't do you any good. They're used to that sort of thing out here.
open this door.
Not yet.
Oh, we're dropping the fences.
And let's drop the innocent, too. Why not be sensible? I'm not a bad sort.
If you don't open that door, I'll tell your father.
Tell Father what? That late at night you went to a drinking boat but didn't know what you were doing? Tell Papa and he'll fire you. He can't fire
Do
me.
you think I could stand another day in that office with you?
Be nice, and you won't have to.
What was your first big picture?
Ladies of Leisure, which was about 4 years, 2 years later. Frank Capra.
Frank Capra.
at
You did
Columbia.
a number of pictures of Frank
Five.
Capra.
Yes,
5 of them.
5 of them.
I don't think anybody else holds that kind of a record, do they?
Maybe Gene Arthur. Maybe, I don't know.
I understand that Capra wanted you to test for him, and you said, I've been
Well,
there.
what I said, I don't think I should say it. But words to the effect that I will never take another test again as long as
By that time, you've
I
been
had
through...
tested a couple of times for various and sundry parts out here. I always lost. And I was up to here with testing.
Right.
Today, I think testing is an unfair thing.
Well, the actor's on such a spot because everything hangs on those few minutes that he's in
It's
front of the
terrible,
camera.
yeah.
And you're usually doing it
I really
with
don't believe
somebody who's not going to play the part opposite you.
That's the
And
same thing.
it's rough.
Yes.
Barbara Stanwyck. Probably the most competent and professional actress I ever worked with. In about 90% of the cases of professionalism and competence, sometimes it's a cover-up for talent. But not in her case. She had all three: competence, professionalism, and talent. I only wish that half the pictures I've worked in, I was fortunate enough to work with an actress of her character and caliber. But you're lucky in this business if you work with 2 or 3 like that. They're hard to find.
Now, we've talked a lot about the past. What about the future?
The future? Oh, you mean as far as plans are concerned?
Yes.
I never make plans. I don't believe in them. But whatever comes, comes. By the grace of God.
But primarily, you want to keep on working.
Well, you know, as long as I'm breathing, I would like to work.
You enjoy it that much?
Yes, I do love it.
It's an inner compulsion.
I suppose so.
Now, another part of your life that's not very well publicized is your activities in helping others. For example, the Braille Institute. You're deeply involved in that.
Yes, well, I can't help them very much, except financially, of course. I mean, you know, you do as much as you can for them. I don't know whether you've ever visited the Institute.
No, I never have.
Well, it's
I used to do
perfectly
readings for
remarkable.
them.
Yes, well, even that you can do today, of course. We all can do that, the records. And,
Yes.
and I try and help them whenever they have some benefit or something that they want to raise money. I try and help them as much as possible. And I go visit them.
Are you not on the Board of Governors?
Yes, yes.
And what are some of your other involvements of charitable organizations?
I don't talk about those.
I can't mention
The
those.
American Indians.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm very interested in those.
Mhm.
Particularly the children, to educate them.
The children that you have seen educated, are they doing well now?
Yes, they are.
Because there's such a potential. We've wasted a great...
Yes. They haven't been given
manpower
an
there.
opportunity. And you talk about minority groups. This one can't go here, and this one can't go to that school. This started many, many years ago, but the Indians were not allowed
Right.
into what they term white schools.
Yes.
I did a picture one time with Barbara. We had very little to do together. But we talked on the set and that sort of thing. And I happened, which was a secret, I happened to be very pregnant at the time with my second child, Melissa. And I was in agony because I had a 22-inch belt and kept calling the doctor and said, well, I heard the child. I unburden to her. She's that kind of person. You feel that you can trust her always.